Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm Miss Natalie. I'm a kindergarten teacher on a mission to empower you to confidently navigate your child's education. This week's video is based off of requests that I've gotten from multiple parents. A lot of people tell me that their child can be a complete monster sometimes and they feel like they have no control on what's going on or no idea of even why their child is acting like that. I spent a lot of time learning how children at this age act, and I want to share some of my tips with you today so that you can become a child whisperer. Let's face it, sometimes kids can really suck. When I tell my husband that I need a second to finish something before we talk, he just waits a second. When I tell one of my students to wait a second, they just yell my name louder. Why can't kids see the big picture sometimes and just understand that we are all people trying to get through our day? Today, we're going to take a look to see where 4, 5, and 6-year-olds are in their emotional development and how you can work with them to be a little more agreeable. Kids are fun to work with because they are so reactive and stimulated by their environment. There's nothing better than the delighted face of an infant playing peekaboo with you, or that gasp of kindergartners when you get off the bus on the field trip to the pumpkin patch. But there's a dark side to that too. If they are overstimulated or are used to being around people that have big reactions, they're going to mirror that and act that way too. Sometimes the most excited child in the classroom is the first one to melt down and have a tantrum because they do not know how to regulate their emotions the way that most adults do. A huge part of this is because children at this age have not developed empathy yet. Empathy is a huge piece of controlling and managing emotions. So a great example of this is if a child has something to tell you and to them it feels really urgent and really important, like it's the most important thing in the world going on right now. Sometimes giving the hold on a second finger to a child can be absolutely infuriating to them. Like, what could you possibly be doing besides watching them do their 5th cartwheel? And so this leads me to my first tip for being a kid whisperer, and this is to model empathy. Briefly explain to them why something is happening. Stay as calm as you can. Share something for them to do instead if you need to redirect them to a different behavior. This could be like taking a deep breath, seeing how high you can count while waiting, or finding something else to do or play with. My favorite, if you really need to distract a 5-year-old, is just a boop right on the nose. A lot of times it'll completely change the subject. My second tip is to take a look at yourself. Believe it or not, your kids are copying you and the characters in books or shows that they spend the most time with. Try to remain as chill as possible. Stay calm, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm. And I even recommend, if you see that your child is starting to get hyped up, to take it down by starting to whisper. Do the opposite of their vibe and do not take on their feelings. As a kindergarten teacher, I know I never need to be the most excited person in the room. All I need to do is whisper, "This is really exciting," and they're gonna go ahead and crank it up for me. You do not need to be the one that's jumping up and down and freaking out. You're the one that is calmly enjoying the scene. If your child though does see you get upset or not be chill, when you are done and when you're calmed down, and this can even be hours later, you can explain to them what happened and why you acted that way. And if you're modeling behavior, you can even tell them what you wish you had done instead. Even if it's not quite true, they probably don't need to watch your road rage. If you are out and about and something is bugging you, if it feels appropriate, talk your child through how you are feeling and the choices you have of how you could act, but how you're going to act. And if the characters in the shows or books that you're watching are not modeling that great behavior, talk it out with your child. Talk to them about how this is something pretend to make us laugh or to make us feel a certain way, but in real life, we would not act that way. And from a literacy tip, this is a great time to use words like fiction and nonfiction. My third tip is to role play with your child. And when I say role play a lot. Role play like all the time, and do it when they are calm. The two of you, or maybe even a group of you, can sit down and talk about common situations where your child might have to practice some empathy. You can role play it out and let them pretend that they are making the good choice, let them pretend that they're making the bad choice. You show them how both choices can work and let them get all of that out of their systems. One of the biggest things with kids is we should let them try some of these things so that they don't practice it in real life away from you. My favorite phrase to role play with the kids is one that'll come up all the time. And that's being able to fix a situation by saying, "Sorry, are you okay? How can I make you feel better?" And then when your child gets into it on the playground with somebody, you can help debrief it with them and just cue by saying, "Sorry." And if they've done it enough, they'll go ahead and start saying the whole thing by themselves. It's also helpful to teach some self-soothing techniques to your child. Keep in mind that when they are away from the house, they'll often be in group situations. Like if they're going to a dance class, that teacher has limited time and the parents paid money for their child to learn to dance. So they can't necessarily sit with your child and soothe them the whole time and stop the dance class. So it's really important to maybe give them a calm down space, teach them to get a stuffed animal, teach them to give themselves a hug, and other things that they can do on the fly that will help them calm themselves down. And a lot of kids will role play on their own too. They might even pretend like they are an awful person and yell and scream at their toys. They might seem like a complete monster, leaving you thinking, "Oh my God, what are they doing in public when they're not around me?" But, let them. So long as it's a part of their imagination, this is completely appropriate for a child and really for adults too. I know that you say some rude things to your boss in the privacy of your shower too. My fourth and my last tip is to trust yourself and maintain the work that you've done. It takes time, practice, and repetition to build these skills. And at first, they really start as skills and your child may not actually develop the empathy that it takes. Really, at first, they're just copying us and you kind of fake it till you make it with this. When I say practice and repetition, this means on a daily basis. When you see these issues happening, try to have a plan to quickly talk them through it, reflect with them, and keep it moving. It does not need to be a big, drawn-out thing. The world moves at a really fast pace. Your child has an extremely short attention span. So try to think of ways that you can just quickly simplify things, talk your child through, and get them moving again. The other thing that comes with this is sometimes they aren't ready yet. Sometimes even I have to whisper to myself when I have a child being very difficult, "They're not developmentally ready yet. They're not developmentally ready yet. They're not developmentally ready yet." When I'm frustrated with a child, I have to remember to stay in control of myself, because if I'm the chill one, even if they are very, very far from chill, over time, they will start to act like me. But it takes a lot of patience. Don't be afraid to excuse yourself. I, all the time with the kids, say, "You know what, Miss Natalie isn't even sure how to talk to you yet, so I need to take a second to calm down and think, because what you've done has really disappointed me." And once you think you've got that repetition down and that they can start practicing this on their own, start setting up play dates with new children that they haven't played with before. Try out new different group environments. Keep your child on their toes because the world is so unpredictable. You want to give them chances to practice these skills as often as possible. Finally, make sure role playing is part of that reflection process. So if something happened in real life and they did a great job, role play it again at home in front of another adult or together and just give them that praise again.